All right, we are going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I know we're waiting on a couple folks, but I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So we'll start with roll. Ginny?
Bush.
Here.
Greenlee.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Kyers is not present yet. Longstreet.
Here.
McCaffrey is absent today. Reichart is not present yet. Rice
Yes, here.
and Sachs.
Here.
All right, thanks, Ginny. Before we get started, I wanted to throw something out there. I do go back and watch our videos from time to time, and I'm going to say pretty much all of us are, so folks online can hear, except Jason. I'm giving you a gold star, Jason. I can always hear what you're saying. But if we could just make sure that when it's our turn to talk, that we have a microphone in front of us and we're speaking into it, that would be super for the folks online. All right, additions and deletions to the agenda. I think what we're going to go ahead and do is move item 11B, which is the resolution honoring Colin, up to right after our first public comment. So then we'll go ahead and do that and start with something fun and exciting there. But other than that, I don't think we have any other edits. So we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the January 7th organizational meeting. If everybody had a chance to review that and someone cares to make that motion.
So moved.
All right, thanks, Lucas.
Support.
Thanks, Joe. All right, questions, comments, edits? All right, we'll just put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, minutes are approved. We do not have any communication, so that brings us to our first opportunity for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to make public comment, I know Ginny has some cards to fill out just with your name and address, but you can have up to 3 minutes if anyone cares to approach the Parks Commission. No? All right, seeing none, we'll keep going and on to item 11B, which is the resolution honoring Colin Zackerson. So we have a suggested motion there. If anyone would care to make that, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
I would like to support that.
All right, thanks, Bruce.
Support.
Thanks, Jane. All right, so what we have here, we are honored to be able to have Colin with us today. And what we would love to present him with is this resolution. And I'm actually going to come up and stand next to Colin and go ahead and read this out first. It's a big one, Colin. I hope you have room on your wall somewhere. But we're just going to go ahead. It's got a lot, but after 35 years, I think we'd all expect that we have a lot of great accomplishments to celebrate. So I'm just going to go ahead and read through this quickly so everyone online can know what's in the content and so forth. But
Don't forget your mic.
oh, yeah. All right. The Ottawa County Parks and Recreation Commission at their regular meeting on January 21st, 2026 did formally adopt the following resolution in honor of Colin Zackerson. Whereas Colin Zackerson has provided 35 years of dedicated service to Ottawa County Parks, making him the longest serving employee in the history of the Parks and Recreation Commission. And whereas on April 16th, 1990, when the newly formed Parks Commission established its system for park maintenance and operations, Colin was one of the first 3 park supervisors hired, and the only one of the original supervisors to remain with the department throughout its growth and transformation. And whereas Colin has served as the East Zone supervisor, overseeing the daily operations and maintenance of some of Ottawa County's original and most heavily visited parks, including Hager Park and Spring Grove Park, which have long been and continue to be cornerstone destinations for county residents and visitors. And whereas over the course of his career, Colin's responsibilities expanded to include Grand Ravines, Grand River Park, the Bend Area Open Space, and segments of the Idaho Explorers Trail, requiring exceptional knowledge of turf management, trees, perennial plantings, facility and building maintenance, and public use infrastructure. And whereas Colin played a key role in the successful delivery of major park improvements, including the Age of Discovery Playground at Hager Park, the most popular playground in the Ottawa County Park System, ensuring it remains safe, welcoming, and well-maintained for tens of thousands of families each year. And whereas Colin, throughout his career, has consistently demonstrated exceptional professionalism, reliability, and leadership, and become widely known and respected among staff, supervisors, and the public for his tremendous work ethic, practical problem solving, and commitment to keeping Ottawa County Parks operating at the highest level of quality and reliability. And whereas in recognition of his extraordinary career and deep connection to Spring Grove Park, a commemorative bench has been installed in that park. It's coming to honor Colin Zackerson's 35 years of service and his lasting contribution to the care and stewardship of Ottawa County's parks. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Commission and its individual members desire to recognize the extraordinary dedication, professionalism, and lasting contributions of Colin Zackerson to the County of Ottawa and its citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ottawa County Parks and Recreation Commission, for itself and on behalf of all the residents of Ottawa County, extend its deepest appreciation and gratitude to Colin for 35 years of exceptional public service to the Ottawa County Park System. And be it further resolved that this resolution, together with the commemorative bench at Spring Grove Park, shall serve as a lasting tribute to Colin's leadership, integrity, and commitment to the care of Ottawa County's most cherished parklands as an expression of the Commission's sincere best wishes for a long, healthy, and fulfilling retirement. So I just wanted to thank you, Colin, for everything you've done and the example you've set for everyone. I always think of Colin as like the silent, strong workhorse in the background. I've been to a couple parks events where, somebody's like, oh, we have to pick this up. And somebody's like, no, Colin already did it. Colin's already done that. And so he's always in the background. And, just looking at the visitation numbers of the parks, over 100,000 in certain months of the year in the East. And so I think just the responsibility that you've shouldered and the example you've led has just been phenomenal. So we're lucky to have you and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank the commission for recognizing the 35 years. It really has been my dream job since I this. I learned that great bosses without support and very lucky to serve the people of Iowa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now you and I got to go figure out where we're putting that bench, Colin.
And there is,
He doesn't have to install it. We're not that quick.
and there is an informal get together.
It was long.
Is that right?
That's some good stuff.
Yes. Next. What-
I want to know, how many Parks Commission meetings have you actually attended in 35 years?
Yeah.
Pretty sure that that's more public comment than he's ever made
Right?
before too. So,
Nice.
yes.
Nice.
And I don't know in today's day and age, right, what the potential is to have an employee work 35 years. It just, right, so many people change careers and jobs. So, yeah, thanks, Colin.
Yeah, definitely lucky. Great. All right. We can just sign off. That's the important part for the meeting, right? So we'll just go run on to the staff reports then and start with the director's report. Jason?
So just a few, the only real highlight that I'll note. So the countywide wage study is looking like it will be presented to department heads here at the end of February. And then I know Fiscal Services is already looking at long-range financial impacts on that and evaluating the different scenarios with that. So once we've had a chance to digest that, we'll any type of revisions or changes to our our annual budget or long-range budget projections, we'll work with the commission to update. So, but happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jason? All right, we'll keep rolling with the park operations report. And Kurt?
Other way.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I was looking at the wrong page. Yep, Jason, you're up.
Sorry. I'll pretty much leave it as it stands. There's not a lot to highlight. I mean, I will say most of our full-time staff were off for at least a week or two during the month of December. But those, as we were here, most of them were doing a whole heck of a lot of snow removal the whole month of December, before it all melted away. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Now you're up, Kurt. Sorry.
All right,
With the
that's
planning
fine.
and development report.
So just to summarize, I think we're really gearing up for the next season. Probably in the next 2 or 3 months, I will be bringing either new consultants that will need approval on to get them going, or actual construction contracts. So we're looking forward to a lot of good things happening in 2026. 2 items that weren't on there. One is just for your information, the Parks Plan did pass through the County Board's Planning and Policy Committee yesterday. There were some conversation from some folks about the millage and what that means, but I think in general it was good and it passed fine, and we don't anticipate any problems at the full board. Second item is Katie and I this morning attended a presentation by David Wright, who's the Parks Director in Bentonville, Arkansas. Pretty interesting and inspiring what they've done down there. I haven't been there, but I keep hearing about it, so I may have to get down there. But yeah, he kind of laid out how things happened there, and it was amazing. It started with 5 miles of mountain bike trail, and it just has exploded. And he's very interested in all kinds of public spaces, not just the trails. He's very involved in their park system and their other public facilities that they have there. So I think it's in a sense, it was nothing that we don't know, right? It's things we've been doing, but it's pretty energizing and there was good participation there too, even though it was a snowy day. Yeah, gives us a little energy to move forward in our activities. So,
Questions for Kurt? All right, we'll just keep rolling then. We are on to the community engagement report, and that's Jess.
Sorry, this always gets a little bit complicated. I was planning to let my report stand and just answer any questions that you might have. Before this meeting, Lucas asked me to talk a little bit about the sauna event that was on New Year's Day. So it was pretty cool. It was the first time we have ever done anything quite like that. We'd been piloting a partnership with the sauna organizations that we've worked with for the past year or so with really great success. And they came to us with this idea and said, we'd really like to get 100 people out there. We want it to be on this holiday. It'd be a great way to ring in the new year. And we don't always do a Lake Michigan beach in the winter. So, because obviously that can be a little bit dangerous. But there was a lot of staff there available and made sure everybody was safe. I know Katie participated, so if you have any questions about how it went specifically, she knows, said good things. And it's just been really fun to do partnerships like this. I was trying to log into our Instagram to play you a video, which of course is not working now, but if I get it fired up, I'll turn it on when we go. Or I can always send you guys a link after this. But yeah, it's been really fun to do some new stuff.
Super.
Thank you. So how many attendees did you have? Do you know?
On New Year's Day, it was 100.
100.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was, Sonity has been our regular contractor for this. There's been a couple of other folks that we've worked with as well, but they actually, the sauna community is very much a community. So they work really well together too. So between the couple of vendors, they were able to accommodate a lot more people than we typically can. So it's pretty sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Anyone else? I just wanted to say too, I really like the partnership section on your
Okay.
report. I really think that's a great section and things to highlight every month. So thanks for doing that. That's good. All right, we'll move on to the Natural Resources Management Report, and that's Neely. You have to grab a mic, Neely.
I guess I don't have a ton to add to my report either. Most of the full-time staff took some holiday time off, so that was nice and kind of a time to relax and everything. My part-time staff, however, a couple of them are college students, so we were able to keep getting work done. They've been doing HWA survey almost every day, so almost 7 days a week. There's been a couple times we've canceled for weather, but really not much. So we've got some pretty tough staff and then some pretty tough volunteers helping them out. So we're actually getting to the point with HWA survey that I think at this point we've surveyed more than we will be able to treat next year, which is a good problem to have. So we'll be ready for the next treatment season. And just as a quick explanation, we need to survey everything in the off season to have the data to be ready to treat it during treatment season. Other than that, I'll add that we are doing a ton of planning this time of year. And most of our staff is leaving early tomorrow morning to go to the Stewardship Network Conference. And then we have a Michigan District Player Council annual meeting as well. So some opportunities for development. Other than that, I'll take any questions or comments if there are any.
Anything? Thanks, Neely. All right, we will keep going with the development report. Katie?
I think I can pretty much leave the report as it stands and just open up for any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions? Katie, I just one super quick question on the Rosie Mound section.
Yes.
It says we are currently at 79% of the total Rosie Mound fundraising goal. Is that, but then doesn't the chart on the next page indicate, or in the charts indicate 37%? Or am I reading that?
So
incorrect?
for this calendar year, we had anticipated raising $608,387 for the calendar year. We raised the 226, but which goes to the full total of our goal for the project is 1,054,000. So out of the 1,054,000, we are now at 79%. So had we,
We were only
Oh,
at
1 year. Oh,
37% of
gotcha. Okay.
2025's
Mhm.
goal.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that. Any other questions for Katie? All right, thank you. And we'll go to Visitor and Business Services Report and Nick.
Yes, thank you. I also don't have much to comment on here other than Pigeon Creek. After this meeting, please go to Pigeon Creek, get a chili dog, maybe run some cross-country skis. It's a lot of fun. I was able to work out there a couple weekends ago on a very busy Saturday, and I had a blast. I worked a full 8-hour shift, running all around, getting to know how everything works. The staff out there worked very hard. I really want to also thank Eric and Max and all the folks that are in charge of grooming. They've done a phenomenal job, especially now as soon as they groom, it looks like they didn't because there's so much snow coming down. So they've really been doing a great job in keeping that going. So we are planning to stay open as long as we can. We just launched, community engagement folks just launched the first 3 ski classes. Those are out for sign up right now, but also this year we're changing it up a little bit. We're still going to have the ski instructor on site no matter how many people sign up so that we can have that true drop-in experience. And if for some reason folks don't sign up for the class, they'll actually be there out and about helping people get their skis on, giving some impromptu instruction out there on the fly. So that's really exciting. And, you know, that day I worked out there was, like I said, it was very busy. We sold 500 hot dogs and 14 bags of chili in one day. It was great. I have a new appreciation for Pigeon Creek and I really enjoy it. So other than that, you know, pretty much that was my whole month with Pigeon Creek. And Josh and I, we hired 17 folks. We received 48 applications and now we have a staff of a little bit over 30 people to operate the lodge. So it's a lot of labor that goes into that, but seeing the general public's reaction, how much fun they're having and making memories, that's what it's all about. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do you, I have a quick question. Do you have any sense of how many people are renting skis versus, bringing their own? Is it a pretty big percentage or?
I wouldn't know. I could ask Josh and Colette and see
do
what
we
they
even-
think, but it was so busy out there. I was just, hey, do you need help getting your skis on and doing that? And I wasn't really paying attention to who was bringing them versus, but there was always a line at the rental window.
Sure,
The
okay.
from open and to close, it was always a line. So
Be able to pull our visitation data,
yeah,
but right, so we can, right,
Yeah.
it would,
a lot of sledders.
it would capture all the visitors, but we could then tell how many rentals we had per
Yep,
day.
we can tell per day how many rentals we have.
Anecdotally, I would say that the majority of people rent. There's always a handful there's people that go every day, there's the regulars, there's people that come in once in a while, but the majority of people rent.
Are they?
Yeah.
And a lot of skate skiers show up during the off times when we're not open, to get the trails more to
Mhm.
themselves.
Yeah.
So we get, it varies from time to time.
Great. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Angus.
how big is a bag of chili?
It's about this big. I think it's
I think it's 2 gallons.
two
gallons?
gallons. Yeah,
It's 2 gallons.
it's quite a bit of chili.
One bag for you.
If you need a bag, I'm sure we can figure out the price on that for you.
Yeah, we 14 2-gallon bags of chili.
Yes.
I'm thinking chili dogs all around at commission meetings would be good.
Yeah.
That was my lunch on
Down
Monday.
there after the meeting. and
You
get our
frequently
own,
eat lunch
right?
there now.
Yeah. That's true. Has it been slammed since school's been closed or canceled?
Yeah, it's been very busy today. We have staff out there and we opened at 2:00 and the sledding hill's full when I was out there about 1:30, just checking on things, and the sledding hill is already full. The parking lot was half full.
Parking lot's full.
Is it full now? Yeah.
I'm over here.
And there's not many people on the live feed on the sledding hill, so that tells me they're out skiing.
Oh,
So
interesting.
renting skis. So I'm sure rentals are pretty busy right now.
Mhm. Great. Anything else for Nick? All right, thanks, Nick. The visitation report, we have the Placer AI data. Anything that we wanted to highlight on that from Aaron's report, Jason, or?
No,
Okay.
I think, right, overall year to date, our numbers are down just a little bit. I don't know, I was looking, could have been, we had a kind of a colder than average December. But it'll be interesting to see now as, if the snow stays with us, how our numbers do at Pigeon, so.
Mhm. Yeah, great. Any questions on that data? All right, we will move on to the committee reports, and it starts with the executive committee. We met, that was Linda and Lucas, and I met with Jason on January 12th, and what we were going over was the agenda and a lot of the motions that we have coming up in new business, and got to celebrate Colin a little bit. Hopefully you guys got to make that. That sounds like a good time. We also talked about future presentations that will come before the Parks Commission, and feel free, we kind of have a running list right now. I think in February, we're still looking at Carly talking about the volunteer program with the park, so we can know what she's orchestrating there. But we have a pretty good list going, but always can add to that as we have a lighter agenda, especially in some winter months coming up here. We talked a little bit about the North Ottawa Dunes settlement, and just that, staff is working on a plan, or maybe the big picture plan, and maybe how those funds could be used. So we look forward to seeing that in the not too distant future. And then just had a brief review of the Campbell plant meeting that park staff attended, with Phil and myself and county administrator, and that went really well, and it was a good meeting. So happy to take any questions. I think that kind of highlights what we discussed, but unless there's anything you wanted to add, Lucas, or no?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, we'll keep going with the planning committee report. That's Lucas.
Thank you. We had 12 items on our agenda. So quite a full one there. So 2 pages worth of minutes. Thank you for creating the minutes and making them so complete as usual. So Eastmanville Farm Barn, so that conversation continues with regard to the feasibility study and looking at that. So, one of the outcomes of that is really just trying to look at the future planning for that park and overall work on the barn. But so we're looking forward to just more activity at Eastmanville. So happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So it appears that maybe we should have been plowing some trails that we haven't
Go ahead.
been plowing, or?
I was going to make a comment. I was
Oh,
going to make a
okay.
comment on that topic
Okay,
specifically. Well, no, we haven't had a requirement to date to plow the trail. And actually, we explicitly had indicated that we wouldn't in some of our grant applications in the past. But the Transportation Alternative Program, the staff have indicated that that's a requirement moving forward. So as we prepare the Allendale segment, which would be 28 or 29 construction, we would want to be prepared for it then. And part of and internally, I asked Jason to work with staff, and we've looked at how other folks, I think Grand Haven Township, their estimates for snow removal per mile, but really coming up with a good plan that we feel really well tested by fiscal year 28, and right equipment and staffing to be able to do that. And as it gets used more and we continue to complete those segments, I think that will and end up being the expectation. So yeah, we'll work on that and review it through our processes and budgetary processes with the Parks Commission.
so it sounds like that will be a condition of TAP grants going forward for all of them. Okay.
And I think that the challenge with some of the areas really is if it's constructed in the right of way, it becomes really challenging to keep the snow removed all the time, because if snowing like it is and a plow truck goes by, they might cover it back up. And I think that just might be part of the reality of some of those segments of trail. And we'll have to work through those summit. But yeah, so.
I wonder if we could work hand in hand, the road commission, if they got a schedule or how they do that. It might be worth talking to Brett about that, I would think.
I think Field said he was going to arrange that for us.
Yeah, we did throw that on Field.
I thought Field said he would have the road commission take care of plowing the trail.
Right, yeah.
Go ahead. with
They have
working
plenty
that
of money.
He's not here.
Yeah, that's right. He agreed to it. Let the record show. No, just teasing. That's a good comment though, Phil. Any other questions for Lucas? All right, we will move on to finance and policy. Linda today, and we actually haven't selected, I don't know, Phil. Oh, Phil, you weren't there either. So, so I think we can probably let it stand. A couple of those are our motion items coming up. Unless there's anything you wanted to highlight, Jason?
Nope.
On the finance and policy report. Okay. Ginny, I was just like the notes don't say that I was there, but if we want to
I
update
think all
them.
3 of those are on the agenda.
Yeah, but cool. All right, perfect. Yep. Oh yeah, they are all on the agenda. Great. Okay, we will keep going with the Community Engagement Committee meeting notes. And that's Jane.
Yeah, so you've got excellent minutes there. I don't really have anything to add to that. It was about a month and a half ago now. So if you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise, we'll just let that report stand.
Great. Any questions for?
I do see that the scavenger hunt is, wow, it's hot and heavy out there, isn't it?
Went real quick this
Yeah,
this
but
go
that
around.
was
So
That was great. I loved the post about that. So that was fun.
it was hidden pretty well too. I'm impressed. I got
Yeah.
found.
But was it a few hours?
Literally, yes.
That
Yeah.
someone found
I was
it?
pretty sad about it.
Yeah.
Hey, people are having fun with it. So
Very good deal. Any other questions for Jane? All right, and then we have a foundation update. Jane, is there anything to update from you? I know you're-
Jason, I don't know if there was a
Virtual board.
virtual
meeting.
only meeting early in January, which I was not at, but you were. So, and Shelley's here. Hi, Shelley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big milestones is Angela, previously the foundation manager, is now the Parks Commission Fund Development Specialist. So her first day was January 5th. So, and we've just worked, trying to clarify those roles and communication channels with the foundation board and then internally with staff too. So, we did a whole lot in past month.
No, not in the last month. A lot of the committees did not meet, and they will be meeting in February now, coming up. So a little bit quieter around the holidays, the first of the year. Great. Super. All right, for those of you online, our foundation secretary that's in the audience said that there weren't too many meetings in January, but we'll probably have a little bit more to report in February. So, and we have a motion later on the agenda, so hopefully we will have a new foundation rep by the end of this meeting too, which is exciting. So, great. Any other questions on foundation activities? All right, we will keep rolling with old business. And the first item we have up here is approval of the 2026 Parks and Recreation Commission schedule, which everybody should have a copy of. We made some tweaks, and that was pulled from the agenda at our organizational meeting. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve the schedule of monthly meetings, we would entertain that.
So moved.
All right, thanks, Lucas.
I'll support that motion.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Did everybody have a chance to look through it? Does it look good? I think seems to reflect all the changes we talked about a couple weeks ago.
The only
Yes, no. All right.
Yeah, it looks
All
good. I mean,
right.
The only one we did not move was the community engagement one in June.
Right,
They
right.
decided that committee would make that decision as they got a little closer. And then in April, the planning committee decided not to move the week that we moved everybody else.
Okay,
So
gotcha. Perfect. Okay. Good. All right. If there's no other comments, questions, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And next one is the 2026 committee organization and appointments. This is just for information, but that's the other handout that Ginny has updated and everybody has. We would ask everybody to take a look at this and make sure your contact information is correct and what you want. And if you need any changes, maybe let Ginny know today or before you leave. But hopefully we don't really have anyone new on the commission, so hopefully that should be pretty accurate. But please do make sure you take a look at that so people know how to get in contact with you the best way. And then we have the committee appointments on the other side, who's been appointed. And I think we have the chairs designated, but we will let the committees talk about appointing vice chairs at their first meetings of the year moving forward. So, good. Any questions, comments? All right, just make sure you get with Ginny if anything needs to be updated. And then we'll probably circulate the contact information for internal use among commission members. All right, moving on to new business, we will start with the Grand River Coastal Corridor Conservation Plan and presentation. I know we have a speaker today. Are you guys tag teaming it? What we'll try to do is there is a suggested motion to receive and accept the Grand River Coastal Corridor Conservation Plan as presented and endorse its use as a guiding document.
Do you like that motion made?
Yeah, if someone would feel free to make that.
So moved.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Do we have support?
Support.
All right, thanks, Lucas. All right, I will turn it over to you guys, and then if people have questions, can they just ask as we go
Yeah,
through?
We can keep this informal. There's a pretty good explanation in the packet about the background. To me, it really is, there's been a convergence of things that have happened in North County that I think make this plan timely, and I think got enough people behind it. Some of it was related to Ottawa Sands, and some of the work we did, studies on the ecological features of that. Some of it has to do with Harbor Island, right? City of Grand Haven's dealing with a lot of issues there. We have some partners who are active. Kitchell Lindquist Dunes has been more active. So I think the time was right to do this conservation plan. So it was funded by us and the Wegge Foundation. Brian is from GEI. They were the prime consultant. So that was done over the past, pretty much all of last year. We worked on it pretty much. It was just finished up this fall. And then, as you know, we're thinking about ways to present this to potential partners and just to the public, to the local municipalities, really anybody. So Brian and his team put together this presentation, which kind of summarizes the overall plan. I hope everyone has had a chance to look at the plan. It's pretty robust. It's got a lot of fun stuff in it. So this is kind of condensing it down into a format that we can easily present. So this is still a draft. It can be changed, but we thought we would at least present it to you now so you can comment on it. And I suppose it could be evolving as we go along, as we find out what people are asking about. We may change it and so forth. But anyway, so let's just go through here and show you what we have. So we want to acknowledge this was a broad-based effort. We had numerous regional groups and local groups participating. And it really built on, like I said, some of these other plans that have been going on, the Coastal Corridor Ecological Assessment that we were very much involved with, Grand Haven, Resilient Grand Haven, and the Lower Grand River Watershed Resiliency Action Plan. So all of that is incorporated right into this plan and more. We've got quite a few references in there about studies that have been done that kind of feed into this overall plan. So here's what we're looking for, right? A healthy, resilient, and vibrant Grand River Coastal Corridor where plants, animals, and people can thrive. And this plan is really meant to provide a framework for long-term conservation and hopefully work to create more collaboration and coordination among stakeholders. So here is the actual area of the coastal corridor, and Brian, you might be in there. It's roughly watershed based, but you can see it goes north into Muskegon County a little bit. It goes east to about M231, and it goes south to, I can't read it, Little Pigeon Creek. So the Tri-Cities area and the areas around it. I think the biggest thing that I kind of use is what it is. It's areas, all the water and wetlands and bayous that are affected by Lake Michigan. If you haven't heard that, I think we've talked about that before, right? There we have what are called freshwater estuaries in Ottawa County. Those are wetlands that are affected by the Lake Michigan going up and down. So this area includes all those bayous that are affected by Lake Michigan. And we thought it was a good size too, a reasonable size that, okay, you could really make an effort. It's not so huge that you go, oh God, can we really make a difference? This is a good size that we think can get behind it. A relatively small number of municipalities. So yeah, it's just not overwhelming. It's something that's feasible, we think. So obviously here is talking, here's a nice shot about, the current corridor is a thriving ecosystem, enhances the corridor. It provides recreational and social opportunities. So yeah, people come here for a reason, and that's one of the big reasons. So, and it does have obviously great benefits. The dunes and wetlands are really, we found, I think this is the big story. It's really unique, right? It's globally significant. We know the dunes are kind of that way, but where the dunes and this large river coming in, all the wetlands associated with it really is an unusual situation. And here it is. It contains 11% of Michigan's protected species, so it's important that way. And obviously it supports recreation, tourism, businesses, all the things that make a quality of life. And obviously we can do some things that will help. Conservation and protection can increase the water quality and reduce flooding and other damaging things that could happen. So this is a kind of unique analysis that's new for us, right? How we divided this up. There are really 4 systems that are working in our area. There's blue is obviously the actual water and wetland. The kind of yellowish orange is the dunes. The green is what we're calling upland forest. And then the other area are developed areas, which I think we're trying to say it's developed, but it still doesn't mean there can't be things done there that just make it better, help us to develop. And then we talked about what's impacting this area, right? So 2 things, obviously loss of habitat as land uses change, and that can also affect water quality, and water is so important. We want to keep that as high as we can. There's also some things with flooding, right? So this looked at the 100-year and 500-year floodplain. And and we'll get to this a little later, as the weather seems to be changing and we're getting some events that really make a big difference, you want to make sure that you have the flood storage. That's just going to help everybody if that water has some place to go. And then obviously we talk about this one a ton, right? Invasive species. This is an interesting map, right? Every red dot is a what would you call it? You know, a verified population of an invasive species. So
There's much more.
There's more than that. This is, I don't know, where did this one come from,
This
Brian?
came from Missing. So
Okay.
this is a publicly available.
Publicly available data. Yeah.
There's a lot more that hasn't.
Cattails.
But anyway, you can see it's an issue, everywhere. And then this is what I mentioned with the changing weather patterns and fluctuating lake levels. Some of that is normal, but it seems like lately it's been more up and down at a higher pace, and that I think this would be right, Brian, that when it happens so fast, it gives less time for things to make adjustments, right? Nature can adjust, but when it goes so fast.
What cattail is an invasive species?
That would be the
Narrow
narrow-leaf
leaf
cat.
and the hybrid. So broadleaf cattail is native, and it's becoming less and less common because they hybridize pretty readily. So most of the cattail that we see is unfortunately
Invasive.
Really?
All right, so what can?
Oh, wait, Lucas had a question.
Sorry, thank you. The water quality, declining water quality is, I always thought that was, our water quality was improving.
I think
in the-
it matters what metric you're using, right? If
Okay.
you're talking about the Grand River and the sewer overflows that were going for a while, but anytime you have more development, more impervious surfaces, the chance for that is there if it's not done well, right? So I don't know exactly what data we have on that in particular, but.
So the context there is more that continued loss of habitat, continued impervious surfaces has runoff, increased sedimentation. So while water quality in the Grand River is generally getting better, especially as Grand Rapids is taking care of itself a little bit better, it doesn't mean that we don't have localized things that we can do and need to make sure that we're continuing to address to make sure that our water quality is high.
Cool, thank you.
So what can we do? And so the process laid out this for strategic pathways, right? Obviously, the one is obvious, you protect land, right? And habitat, which we've been doing. And second, you manage what you have and hopefully manage what others have, right? Everybody should be involved in this. There are some opportunities to restore what we've lost in terms of wetlands or even other types of habitat. And then, as always, it's important, we're talking a lot about that, right? Engaging the community so they know what's happening and that they can be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And then this map shows the priority conservation areas, right? So that's the areas that are inside that purple line. So it's basically the water and wetland areas are the highest priorities, and the dunes. But we're looking at, can we maintain or improve ecosystems? Say anything more on that one, Brian? There are some good examples. Stearns Bayou is a good example, right? We've got Stearns Creek. Boy, if we can protect and manage further up the watershed, that would be a high priority.
I would just add.
Hey, Brian, can you jump up and use Kurt's microphone too, so people online can hear you? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
So I would just add to that point that when we drew in the priority conservation area, we really focused on those corridors and trying to connect habitats that were already there or could potentially be connected, and largely focused on the combination of the wetlands and the dunes. So it's not that the upland forested areas aren't important, but the wetlands, those coastal wetlands and Lake Michigan and the dunes really are global treasures and are rare on a global scale. So it comes with the recognition that, you know, there is a responsibility to protect the rarest and most fragile.
Cool.
All right, and so here are the next steps. Short term, we're doing this public rollout, right? And it would be presentations, engage them, and then also, of course, look for funding for improvement projects that we'd like to do. So that's where we're just at the beginning of this, and then, you know, looking a little bit further down, there's potential that you would have some staff working on this to actually implement it. And looking at restoration projects and longer term funding so that we can continue to maintain what's there. In Ottawa County, I think even though this has been a very broad-based group effort to get to this point, I think Ottawa County Parks is looking at, and we're going to be the lead on this. It seems like we have the most connections, most of the players. We're already involved in a lot of areas, a lot of particular spots in this area, so it makes sense for us to do that. But we're really looking for partnerships from, as it says, their local governments, NGOs, other agencies and foundations, actually individual landowners as well. Everybody has some impact, and so if we can engage all kinds of people, big and small, that would be great. And obviously, we want to do this in a coordinated way. That has yet to be exactly worked out, but that's what this is. We're starting to talk about it and see what people can add to the conversation. Yeah, help us all do it. All right, and then there's just some key takeaways. We talked about this already, right? This is globally significant, the wetlands and dunes. And I mentioned this before, they're influenced by Lake Michigan, which I think is kind of unusual. And this is one thing I actually did quite a bit of process about that. I hadn't thought about it before. And then obviously critical habitats we need to protect by acquiring them or other methods of making sure that they're protected. And then management is a big key too. Nature, unfortunately, nature can't just be left alone very much anymore. Needs some help, especially in areas where there's a lot of and then obviously restoration is an option for certain areas just to make these reconnect things. And this is right up our alley in a sense, right? Parks has been doing this for a long time, but to focus on this particular area is what we're going for. And here you go. Right? I mean, it's all about that, improving the quality of life for the public while also protecting this landscape for the future. So, any questions or comments or things you'd like to see emphasized? Or
Have one.
Yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
So
I have one too.
I love this, by the way, as I think everybody knows, but this is, you know, a culmination of a lot of great planning that's happened, you know, over the years, like last decade. But I can see, this being presented to township boards and planning commissions, really even asking, for consideration of adding it as an appendix to a master plan or something along those lines, so it can be referenced in that way, and it might have an impact on their future land use maps when they create those. So great plan. So thank you for putting that together.
So this isn't the presentation that would be given, like it would be tailored to whoever you were gonna give it to, kind of to some extent.
Presentation, but sure, I think we tailor it to.
Mhm.
Well, we would look for feedback from commissioners just generally.
So we
on the
could send you an
PowerPoint. I
email
think
if-
there were a few
Okay,
tweaks. The next step, my next step would be working with staff to present to the Board of Commissioners at an upcoming meeting. So then there's obviously Spring Lake Township, we know it's timely there. And then there's Grand Rapids. There's a group out of Grand Rapids, I forget the name, but the task for a presentation also in February. So be presenting to them. So they have some ties with the corridor there in downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. So, and then trying to get it out to the various stakeholders, really building, kind of building the support and the momentum for it, I think. And that's one of the little tweaks I changed, how in the cover sheet, that not necessarily us as the lead agency, but we're positioned to be the lead agency. I think, right, having, whether or not it's grant funding to help support additional staffing, or if it comes with a millage increase. But yeah.
well, that was kind of related. My other question is, because I read in the plan, or that it would be a good idea to have a full-time coordinator of this, for the Grand River Coastal Corridor, and is that something that we're entertaining, or?
Yes, I think
Somebody's
that would be,
talking
well,
about-
and if you recall, there was, so I think we've had some general conversations internally about how we would see some of this coming together. But even Crow had recommended, a staff that engages with other jurisdictions, that coordination effort. So, but really, right, helping be a resource, working with the local planning staff, it all kind of ties in together. So.
You have anything else?
Well, I was just gonna say, I've already used this
Right.
in a grant application.
Right.
So, I mean, it's for us, for, Ottawa County and all the local municipalities, it'll be one of those things. I think the DNR is gonna love this.
Yep.
Holistic look at the.
Actually, we just did a letter of support for Hoffmaster. DNR is updating their management plan. So I referenced this in the letter of support, provided her a link to make sure that it gets to their planning people, right? That's a critical partnership there when we're looking at PJ Hoffmaster. And and it also feeds right into our MOU with Grand Haven and Ferrysburg on that management of that Grand Haven Dunes property, trying to help with the wildlife management. So, yeah.
All right, well, if anybody has comments, just shoot them over to us.
Send them to you, okay. Mhm. Good. Did anyone else have anything, or good? Okay, so the motion we have, I just skipped it, is to, because we had a question, I know Linda's not online listening to this, but what does it mean to receive and accept the report? So just to touch on that, is if we're voting on this motion to receive and accept it, it's saying that we're generally in agreement with it, we're not requesting edits, and that we acknowledge that, park staff, it's not a policy document, so we're not approving a policy, but we're just approving it, and that park staff can use it as guidance in developing actions and activities moving forward too. So if anyone had a question on that. which it actually was a good question. So I thought I'd highlight that. So since we have the motion and support, we'll just put it to a vote then, seeing that there's no further comments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Say nay. All right, motion carries.
And just again, special thanks to Brian for helping pull all that together, and it can't be, right, we can't recognize all the various partners who have helped with this. I think that first one we started in 2020, shortly after we acquired Ottawa Sands, and then that fit into this plan. So lots and lots of folks helping.
Yeah, I thought it was a great report. Lots of really good graphics. Really helped explain everything clearly, and yeah. So thank you.
Great. All
Yeah,
right.
good job, Ryan.
Good. Yeah.
I like everything about water, so flooding, wetlands, that's all singing my.
Right, it all,
my
right,
tune, right?
right, yeah.
I was gonna say, make sure we get this in front of the West Coast Chamber, or not West Coast Chamber, the Grand Haven, Spring Lake, Ferrisburg Chamber as well. That's gonna be a big key. And the Community Foundation up there,
Mhm.
Grand Haven Community Foundation.
Good.
And maybe Army Corps. And I know Hillary Skolton's office has been reaching out on looking for projects, so.
That's good, because she came and did a
Did.
tour of Ottawa Sands, so.
Mhm.
we'll
She did, so
this to
just
her
a heads
staff.
up, she's
Yeah.
been
That's a great idea.
sending some information to me to projects that I would like to see funded, and I guess this would be one.
Yeah.
Have her team look at it.
Right. Just to remind you, Brian has also been working on a coastal resiliency project, which is actually looking at specific projects to
Correct.
improve resiliency. So that report will be done here in the spring. But it includes some pretty detailed drawings of what could be done. So we wanted those to be ready for funding if it became available.
Super. Anything else? All right. We will move on to item 11C, and that is appointment of the Ottawa County Parks and Recreation Commission representative to the Ottawa County Parks Foundation. And we have a suggested motion there to approve the appointment of Martin Harris as our commission rep to the Parks Foundation. If anyone would care to make that motion.
That motion,
All right, thanks, Joe.
I'll support that.
Okay, thanks, Phil. All right, super. What do we need to
Speech. Martin.
highlight here? There you go,
Speech.
Martin.
Why? Why do you want it?
Yeah, exactly. Who hoodwinked you? No.
I'm excited. It should be great. So
Yeah.
look forward to it, assuming that we think it's a good fit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And thanks, Jane. You've been our rep for how many years
I've been
now?
hogging
And-
it all this time, so let's give someone else a chance to step in.
Right, right. No, we're lucky to have you, Martin. I'm so glad that you're willing to fill that role. So, good. Any other comments or questions for Martin? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, welcome, Martin. Motion carries. That's super. All right, item 11D is the, am I saying this right? My Leap grant for summer camp. And we have a suggested motion there to accept this learning grant.
I'll make a motion, but I'd like to amend it to strike the word scholarships. As I understand it, that will allow us to be a little bit more flexible. Use the money as recommended by staff. So I'll make the motion excluding the word scholarships.
All right, thanks, Jane. Do we have support for that?
I'll support that.
Okay, thanks, Martin. All right, sorry, I didn't see, is this Jason, Jess? I wasn't sure who was taking, oh, Jessica, is there anything you want to highlight on this since everybody might not be familiar with it?
So this is a new grant for us. The whole grant program is new, which is, so we're learning a lot already. But essentially the grant is to help decrease our costs, and therefore then we can decrease the cost for participating families. So that was part of the reason for striking the word scholarship. I don't want to pigeonhole us into anything specific, but the idea is that we'll be able to give some pretty significant discounts to up to 15 kids. That's our plan.
And this
A lot of
was
help with Aaron and Brandy from Fiscal Services too, our grant experts.
You might want.
Thank you for
He
reminding me.
Reached out and secured his first grant for us. So
Yes,
that's
his
awesome.
first grant application, so he's 100% success rate now, so yeah. He's doing great. No, he's been awesome. He's our program supervisor that oversees all of our curriculum-based education. And he's been doing an excellent job, and camps, obviously.
And then when this does go to the board, we'll do a formal budget adjustment to capture that in the budget. So we'll just, implement the intent of the commission. So I'm sure suffice for me to submit a request for a budget adjustment when we do the grant agreement, but yeah.
Great. Any other questions on that? All right, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And then we are at the historic Ottawa Beach parking license, which has been discussed. Gosh, what was it? Finance and policy? We just talked about this. Yes, this month. We went over it quite a bit of finance and policy because historic Ottawa Beach is always a little bit complicated, but we have a suggested motion to approve and authorize the license agreement. If anyone would like to make the motion as written.
So move.
Okay, thanks, Jane.
Second.
Thanks, Lucas. All right, Jason, do you want to give a little overview on this for folks who haven't seen it before?
And it's, in field, I cringe a little bit when I include all these attachments in these action items, but there is such a long history with those properties in that area in the county. And it's, in order to understand what the action item, it's a good reminder. So there was a long history of litigation tied to those properties. The county accepted the plat, and then we hold title to the right-of-ways, and then there were 12 parks properties. So in the early 2000s, there was a settlement stipulation order. A master plan was done for all of that area, and then surveys, encroachments were addressed. And one of the things that was resolved going through this process was parking and providing parking for the cottagers, some who don't have vehicular access to their cottages. So there are 5, there was a licensed lease drawn up, and there are 5 designated parking areas for residents. And there were a couple, as we went back and went through the mountains of paperwork working through each one of these encroachments. This specific cottage was allowed to continue to use the right-of-way for parking. And if you all recall, there was one of the undeveloped lots had a cottage moved to it last year. So the Van Dyke, and we had allowed some of the work there. This is a neighbor, and just that whole process made them a little insecure about, their right to use that. And through the West Michigan Park Association, they asked if we could do a similar license. So that's the template we used. It's, we have a responsibility to work with the cottagers to make sure that their right-of-ways and boardwalks are maintained and that they have parking. So long-term, it's a little unusual, certainly for a parks agency, but that's part of what our responsibility is. So this just provides that framework for them to do that. So there's probably more information than you wanted, but yeah. And I think if, long-term, the way it's written, we would have the ability to rescind it. We would have an obligation to address their parking there. But if someday, the local fire department wanted to have access for emergency response or anything, that way we would be able to do it. But after this is recorded, we'll receive the resident signature. I'll sign it, and then we'll actually file it with the clerk. So it'll be filed with that property too. So it'll go to the board, and then we'll file it with the clerk. But
Questions? Comments? All right, we'll just go ahead and put it to a vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries.
again, right? Kudos to John and Kurt on working through all of this. You know, we have a great working relationship with the residents there and the group there and the historic Ottawa Beach, the museum, but it always wasn't that way. And, you know, credit to my predecessors and
That guy sitting in the audience here too might have something to do with it.
oh, look at that. Yeah, yes.
I remember when all this was going down way back
Right?
when.
When you go back and look at the records, it really, I mean, it was a turbulent time and a lot of time on staff to sort through each one of these and come up with solutions and work through it creatively. So this is just a continuation of trying to do that. So, thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, Jason. All right, that brings us to our final public comment. And does anyone in the audience care to make public comment? If so, go ahead and step forward. If not, if you are online and would like to make written public comment, feel free to send the Parks Commission an email at any point during the month. You can see the email address to address it to in the description of the YouTube video there. So feel free to do that at any time and the Parks Commission will take a look at your comments. So seeing that we don't have any in the audience, we will move on to Commissioner's prerogative and we'll start on that side field. Anything?
Again, I apologize for being late. I have a meeting every month that we have a meeting at Muskegon, and we had extended discussion today since the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission, which deals with a lot of stuff. Among the little issues we started to talk about, which is kind of interesting, something that I think many of us are sensitive to, which is the amount of salt that's dumped on the roads in Ottawa County every year. For those of you that don't know this, we dump 20,000 tons of salt onto our roads every year. And we started to have a little bit of discussion about what some of the alternatives in other states are today and gained some pretty good knowledge, which we're going to talk about. But that's my comment and apology. And the roads were not necessarily good in Muskegon County, I have to say. They were,
How's Ottawa looking there?
with the exception of Fillmore Street.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you trying to get here. Thanks, Field. Phil?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Martin?
I will simply offer my timely appreciation for all the work that goes into Pigeon Creek Park right next door to us here on a day like today. It's a great place to be. So thanks, everybody.
Max, who was in the audience, was grooming today, and he drove the snowmobile here to attend this meeting.
On the way here?
Right before the meeting, and I saw
Oh, were you?
the groom went right across the street and up into the north side as I was leaving.
Skiers follow.
I think I was the only one who'd been on it.
Did you ski here?
No, not quite.
Good. Jane?
I'm sorry Colin left, but I just want to go on record thanking him and noting that my daughter, who is not at all an outdoorsy person, worked for Colin for I think 3 summers after high school and during college, and she had a fabulous experience. He's the only person that got her outside for an extended period of time. But just, I want to go on record, so it'll be, on our recording, thanking Colin for that.
Yeah. Good. That's a great story. Lucas?
The only thing I can think of is that I just want to remind everybody that staff has brought $33 million worth of Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund dollars to Ottawa County. So that's a big number, and I just think we need to keep thinking about how we do that and how much return on investment we keep getting through that program. So
For every $1 equates to $6 to the local economy.
there you go.
Keep that up.
Yeah. It's almost like you rehearsed.
You guys talk before this meeting?
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Lucas. Paul?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Bruce?
I just really appreciated the presentation about the coastal dunes. And I don't know enough about it. I need to look at the presentation a lot more, which I wasn't able to make connection before I got to this meeting, even though Kelly said we can make a link. I was not able to make that connection. So Um, I really appreciate all the work that Kurt and Brian and lots of other people been doing for years, maybe before even Jason was in Michigan, I would guess. But there's some incredible information, and there's so much water in Michigan, and we get kind of tired of sludging through it in the wintertime, but we really all like it in the spring, summer, and fall when we're kayaking and we're swimming and we're boating and doing all kinds of other things, and having a plan to make it stay good for us in this county with lots of salt in the wintertime is pretty important. Thanks.
Good. Thanks,
Well,
Bruce. Go ahead,
I
Joe.
would definitely second what Bruce just said.
Yeah.
So Brian and Kurt, thanks for that, for the work that's being done on the plan. That's hitting right to my heart. The other one is Colin. Again, appreciate his 35 years of customer service to the residents of Ottawa County and the Parks Department. So that's quite an accomplishment. And again, to all the staff and everybody that when you get this snow, you try to make the best of it in a short time, because you never know when it could be, a couple weeks, it could be melt again. Right now it looks pretty good, especially this weekend. Looks like it might be a little chilly. But you never know when it'll be gone. So the work that goes into that, especially the whole team over at Pigeon, and it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of volunteers, and it takes a lot of work to make things happen. So thank you. That's all I got.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Just to piggyback on that, I didn't have my notes with me at the podium, but I went back and looked at some of the visitation data for the parks. Colin is in charge. And even in like December, his parks are seeing between 16 and 26,000 visits in December, which is not, in the East parks that he oversees. And that's just crazy. And when and then in the, summer, it skyrockets and balloons over 100,000 every month in his parks. And so, you think about the feedback he's getting and what he has to respond to and the visitors, and it's a lot to juggle. So I think it's easy to underappreciate, the park staff and all of the work that they did, and especially Colin. He made it look easy for sure. So
Can I make
yeah, go
some
ahead,
other
Bruce.
comment
Yeah.
along that line? When I was on a bus tour this fall with my wife to the Bend area, and lots of us in this room are on that. I don't know whether you mentioned, Kurt, or maybe Jason Berger mentioned, basically every time that every park that we go into have to kind of think of, okay, it's prepared, and all the preparation that goes in for that visitor that drives up, walks up, however they bikes up, gets to that park, and everything has to be ready, whether it's enough toilet paper in the facilities or whatever, the grass being groomed and the weeds down by the parking lot, or whatever it is. Anyway, it's so important that we all think about. Colin is a big part of that, and all the operations staff in all the districts in the county. It isn't districts, I guess it's regions, isn't it? They're always thinking of that. We don't have to think of that because they've already done it for us, and they've done the work and the leg work and the arm work and everything else work to get that to happen. And I just appreciate Jason Berger's operations department, because I live not too far from Tunnel Park and some other areas that I go to frequently. And it's really nice to be able to go there and know that, the sky's not going to be falling, so to speak, when I get there. It'll be good. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Very poignant points for sure. The only other thing I had really quickly is just keep your eye out for an email. I think some of us were confused by what we're supposed to be doing for Parks Commissioner reimbursements, per diems and mileage and so forth. Apparently, Field, you're the only one doing it. So, so Ginny's going to be sending out instructions on how, oh, you did? Okay. I didn't notice if it got out already. So make sure you do that, but everybody has to proactively submit those yourself every quarter. So let's try to get that done for the end of the year, kind of ASAP. If you were, well, everybody here was on the Parks Commission last year, so I think the last time we were prompted was June, so we might have to go back a little ways and add up some meetings. But take a look at Ginny's email and they can contact you if they have questions. Ginny, is that fair? Okay, super, super.
Jenny, is it the same form?
Yep,
Okay.
you got it.
All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to move into closed session.
So moved.
All right,
Support?
thanks, Lucas and Joe. All right, we will call the roll.
Roll?
Yeah, sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
Somebody was talking to me.
Yeah.
Bush,
Here.
Greenlee,
Here.
Harris,
Here.
Hill,
Yes.
Kyers,
Yes.
Longstreet,
Yes.
Reichart, Rice,
Yes.
Sachs,
Yep.
and McCaffrey is absent today.
And